Yeah. Right. Yes.
Okay, good evening. I'll open the meeting. We've got Carolyn online and you three gentlemen here, which we'll come to in due course. Councillor Johnston, Tim, Bob and Roger, Mike Johnston and Sharon, as you've already found out. And my welcoming is that we don't have to do the standing orders in relation to the recording any longer. If you do hear the alarm going off, the fire alarm, then just exit through the door as expected, or through this. Oh, it's closed now, but through that one if you want. And we'll all be following you, don't worry. Apologies for absence.
Yes, Chairman, we have Councillor Eastman, Dowling and Blackmore. We've received apologies from.
Yes.
John Davey.
Right, thank you. Someone wish to propose? I'll propose the acceptance of the apologies. Roger seconded.
Yeah.
All in favour? Yes. Thank you. Okay, declarations of interest. I don't think I have any. I don't think we have anything online in relation to the Civic Society. No. Oh,
No. None along the way around.
right. Good. So, two things on this chairman's report. 4.1, the Environment Agency issued a variation permit to, huge great number there. Full details can be found, in the usual place on the website. 4.2, and that is in relation to double yellow lines and the responses that we made and the responses that they have in turn made. And unfortunately, one or two of them aren't going to be followed up because they weren't raised by First Bus, and others probably will be introduced in due course, partly on the restriction on West Hill, as we initially discussed, and down on Newfoundland Road, Marina Gardens, etc. 4.3, a referendum has been set for electors in Wraxall and Phelan for a neighbourhood plan later this month, and again notification on the website. 4.4, notification has been received from National Highways at the Potbury 100 between junctions 18 and 19 on the M5. They're closing the M5 again. No, between Avonmouth and Gordano, subject to weather conditions, will be closed from 9 till 6 on the 23rd to the 27th of September, whilst more efficient LED lighting is fitted. 4.5, North Somerset Council traffic orders, and there's quite a list there of the annual police headquarters event, which takes place on the 14th and 15th. So there are restrictions about parking and such like. Right, public participation time. So who's going to kick off? Okay, Grant. And if you just give us your name. Yes. I've got a 4-minute timer here, so try to keep it succinct.
So obviously Grant will do the presentation. So just for interest as well, my name is Jonathan Rees and I'm the landlord of the property. The property's been in the family. This is my wife's sister's property before. So yeah.
Okay.
So I'm the tenant, my wife has been living there for 7 years now. Yeah.
So these are photographs which you have taken, haven't you?
Yes. Yes, I suppose today.
Yeah.
Thank you for printing those off. So good evening, members of the advisory group. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. My name is Grant Mackenzie. I live at 56 Heron Gardens, directly adjacent to 62 Heron Gardens, which is a 2-bedroom property where planning permission for a large extension has been requested. I'm here today not just to relay concerns of ours, direct concerns concerning the property, but also of neighbours who have expressed in our cul-de-sac, our quiet cul-de-sac, who have expressed concerns about the development and its impact on the environment. So the proposed development includes a substantial extension mere inches from our property boundary. This proximity and the nature of the planned construction raises significant concerns. The first and the biggest concern is the overbearing nature of the development. So the scale and placement, as you can see in the photos, we're very, very close to the other property. The plans are for the that garage to be extended to the roof that you can see, the highest roof, and for the way you can see the fence in that picture, the extent that will be up to the height of the roof as well. So that's just a brick wall that we would be seeing, and it would turn the driveway into an alleyway effectively. The issue is, of course, that the 56 and 62 we face in opposite directions, so that naturally limits the kind of opportunities for such expansive modifications without impacting what happens. You know, you can't develop the front without it impacting the back and so on. So this towering wall created by the extension, it will significantly alter the character and reduce the usability of our space in the garden and also on the driveway. Another issue of concern is the impact on my home office. So the planned extension will absolutely cast, and I'm pleased that the sun was shining today when I took those photographs, because you can see quite clearly that the development would stop the sun shining, and the home office, the outbuilding would be in complete darkness. It would be in the shadow of the planned extension. So the home office relies on natural light through the skylights, which you can see, for a comfortable, productive environment. So if the natural light is removed, it becomes much colder, less inviting. I would rely on artificial lighting and heating, increased energy costs and so on. So then there's the third aspect, which Bob kindly brought to my attention when I first came to him about this, and that is the direct contradiction with policy PWH1 of the Portishead Neighbourhood Plan. So that obviously, as you are well aware, seeks to protect community stock of 1 and 2 bedroom and accessible homes. It is a 2-bedroom home, 62 Heron Gardens, and the plans make clear the potential for up to 2 more bedrooms. There's 1 bedroom that is definitely listed, and then a 4th potential bedroom listed as a study room. Yeah, so what do you make of that study room? So obviously that undermines efforts to maintain smaller accessible housing within the neighbourhood. And I just want to point out that it's really noteworthy. Sorry, if I just finish this. So it's really noteworthy that the new owner sought planning permission immediately after purchasing the property. Didn't even come to introduce himself to us in the cul-de-sac behind him, who would be most affected by the development. As soon as he moved in, he filed for the planning permission, and that raises concerns about the underlying motivations for the development. So yeah, I just want to urge that the decision, not just by yourselves, but by North Somerset Council, respects the life and rights, so quality of life and rights of all neighbours in Heron Gardens, and adheres to the community planning guidelines. Thank you for your time.
That's fine. Thank you very much. A couple of questions from me. The garden of your house, do you get quite a lot of sunshine in there normally? Do you use it recreationally quite a bit?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a trampoline in the garden. We have a child. The area that would be impacted by the extension really gets the sunlight in the morning, but that's critical for warming the home office, particularly when it's colder. Relies on that kind of that heat. Yeah, but the whole area will be cast into a giant shadow. I don't know how far the shadow would extend actually, because it's such a substantial.
And the fact that they're going to remove the bit of garden at the front of this proposal, put 3 car parking spaces in there, are you minded to think that this could become an HMO, the house?
HMO?
A house of multiple occupation.
Quite possibly, quite possibly. My first thought when I saw the application is that he's just going to flip it, that he's going to invest, turn it into a 4-bedroom house and then sell it immediately.
Right.
That's my first impression. But yeah, the fact that he's having 3 spaces, that raises concerns, and that touches on actually something that all people in the cul-de-sac
Yeah.
have expressed concern about, which is that you probably know Heron Gardens quite well, but it's a traffic calmed area, and there are lots of narrow areas. So firstly, all of this construction, these heavy construction vehicles will create an absolute nightmare for traffic along there. It's difficult at the best of times.
Position as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
but also, yeah, the fact that he wants, the guy wants more parking spaces
Yeah.
indicates that there are going to be more people.
I would think that's how I read it as well. Committee members, comments?
I mean, obviously, PWH1 clearly states is to protect the existing housing stock. As a councillor that's been on the council for 5 years, before obviously the Portishead plan came along, I clearly raised at several council meetings my concerns over the loss of the amount of 2-bedroom houses that were being converted into 3, 4 and 5-bedroom houses.
Of which this isn't the first one this evening.
No.
Won't be the first one. No. Roger?
Tim, you live on.
Oh, I do.
You go around that-
So
you go around the
you-
corner.
Next, Tim, I'll
I've seen
come
a
up.
madman on a bicycle earlier.
That might be cycling through there as well, actually, way to work.
Yeah, so I do think that we are pretty much short on the smaller houses, the 2 bedrooms and the smaller 3 bedrooms that are affordable for people like us to rent and buy. My main worry is if that's taken out and then put a larger house there, it's going to spoil a demographic, especially people who born and live local or need to live down here.
And reduce the housing
And
stock.
reduce the housing stock that people can afford. I mean, I was dead lucky that our house is dead cheap. I mean, it's a small 3-bedroom house.
Do we also agree that it's overbearing on the neighbouring property? I mean, it would certainly seem to me that it would. I mean, your photographs are very useful in that
Which
respect.
one's that one?
So that's from our garden towards, so you can imagine, you see the height of the roof in the distance, that one there, that the wall closest to the photo will be at the same height.
So
Yeah.
that is on that one there. That's the wall there. Yeah.
Yeah, so the extension will go to that, it's
So-
very tall.
so
Literally
Yeah.
up to that wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It will
so-
completely block out the sun.
So that's so it just goes straight up. Right up to
Yeah.
I mean, the
height.
point that you've raised, obviously, that the study could clearly turn into a bedroom.
Yeah.
Very, very easily. And Mike, I think you're absolutely right. That's a possible chance of what
I mean, how big is a study going to be at the end of the day?
Well, it's a single bed
It's-
size, yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's going to be another bedroom.
Well, what I found interesting is that, yeah, it's listed as a study space, but study spaces, unless you have a very large house, study spaces are bedrooms. You know, so people turn their bedrooms, spare bedrooms, into offices. They don't have dedicated spaces upstairs where they can have study space, especially in houses built 30 years ago.
Well, it's a point of sale, isn't it?
Roger, any comments?
Yes, I mean, first of all, we're here to deal with the planning issues and whether or not somebody intends to purchase a property to make changes to it and sell it on isn't a planning issue. Whether or not they later want to apply to have it converted to an HMO also isn't a planning issue. The planning issues that concern me here is one, there's a study which clearly looks the size of a bedroom, so I don't know why it's not labelled as a bedroom, but equally this is a 2-bed property. Portishead is really, really short of 2-bed properties, and if we continue to allow people to develop them into larger properties, then we are going to run out of small properties for people to move into. This was highlighted in the neighbourhood plan. The neighbourhood plan was voted through by members of the public who agreed that they want to protect these type of 1 and 2 bedroom properties. So for me, that's a no-brainer. This is an extension of a small property against the neighbourhood plan, and we should be objecting to it on those grounds.
So we'll formulate that as being the principal reason for objection and add that it's an overbearing development on the neighbouring property.
Yep, no
In my
objection to that.
opinions.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to propose that?
Yes.
I was
So
going to say,
I'll
you've
propose-
coming out of sequence there. Are you changing the order of the meeting because you've come out of public participation?
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
You're still in public participation.
Oh, yes,
The
yes, I
others-
beg your pardon, we are. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Right.
you for coming.
Righty-ho. 26 Quantock.
Hi, my name's Pete Ramsey. I've never done this before.
Don't worry, don't worry. We'll try to keep it, fairly.
I live at 23 Quantock Road, and obviously it's number 26. And the young lady who's bought the property obviously is deciding to knock it down and rebuild. And the only problem is, I feel as though it's just blocking our view of the River Severn. And all those years ago when my parents bought the property and had the extension, we didn't think this was going to happen. And I should imagine probably devalue the property as well. But I don't know how high it's going to go. I think it's going to go a lot higher than what it is now.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a garage, which I think is going to be demolished. Well, it's all going to be demolished, isn't it?
Mm.
And then it's going to go all the way along. So I took some photos, if you're interested in seeing them, of how much I think the view is going to disappear, to be honest.
You're directly opposite, yes?
Yes, yeah.
And I spoke to your mother, correct?
Oh, is it you? Is it? Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Now my mum would probably not want to say much, but deep down she is worried about it.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like to disturb the peace. But I think
It's going up by 3/4 meter, which will take it up to probably roughly the same height as the adjoining one on the left,
right. Okay.
for looking from your house, yeah.
So that'd be quite a lot, really.
Is there more than one here?
Yeah, there's 4 photos. We've just
Four
slide them.
photos, yeah. I'll pass it on to you in a moment. Yeah. I'm fairly familiar because I don't live that far away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I live on West Hill. Yeah. And you're aware that planning, unfortunately, if you lose a view, it's incidental to the planning applications, unfortunately.
Would it
There's
be
a lot-
to-
I don't know. It's a difficult one, that one, isn't it?
Chairman, is the ridge height any different to the properties either side? Either side?
Well, traditionally, they were all built to that height, but one or two of them are already gone up.
Lower than these here anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got a lovely view from her back with
Yeah.
all the fields.
Of course, yes, and you've undoubtedly seen the plans which have been submitted.
Two-bedroom property.
3. So the bedroom, my bedroom's upstairs,
All right.
dormer.
Which one are we looking at? 26?
26.
Mm.
Mm. And of course, the initial planning for this one was for
Yeah, Roger would know.
change.
Thank you very much.
I don't think I need to declare an interest, but I am acquainted with the family.
Okay, right.
Are you good declaring an interest?
No, because we haven't been acquainted for very many years.
Okay, well, I better go back into standing orders before we make any further.
So thank you for your time.
Yes, no problem. Thank you. Okay, so firstly, oh yes, anyone online wish to speak about planning applications on the agenda? Take that as a no.
Yeah,
Okay,
we've got Gary with us now.
right. Item agenda 6 is the minutes of the last meeting. Are we in agreement that I'll sign them off as being appropriate for the meeting? Yep.
Yep.
Okay, someone proposing, Roger proposing,
Opposed, yeah.
Tim seconded it, and we were all in favour of the minutes. Thank you. I'll sign off at the end. Okay, so we'll then go into standing orders and discuss the planning applications. I'll bring the two that we've been talking about up at the front. So we'll talk about 1680, 62 Heron Gardens, which I think we've already done. So we'll now take a vote on that
So it was a,
proposal for
Could we
you.
just go back over
Yeah.
what the actual
Yep.
proposal was, please?
Oh,
so
Heron Gardens.
it was a proposal to object on the grounds
PWH.
of the PWH one, the neighbourhood plan, and the
Overbearing?
Yes,
overbearing
overbearing.
nature of the development.
on the adjoining property.
I proposed it, didn't I?
You did.
Just put on the neighbours, is that okay?
Was Mike seconding that?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. All in favour then? Yes, that's all of us.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. Right. I think we have a visitor coming.
Took the wrong turn.
Yeah.
26 Quantock, which is 1560. Right, so familiarise yourself where it is. That's the Brendan.
I was born and bred and road that way.
Yeah, okay, so we're all familiar where it is with the view over the Severn Estuary.
Born there a long time ago.
Current and
Very nice.
proposed. So it's, yes, as stated, it's going up 3/4 of a metre on new build, so it's full new build. And at the back, which isn't really overlooked apart from people walking in the field, that's its rear elevation. So what are we minded to think here? It's not,
I feel it's
precedent's
definitely-
already been set.
It has, is it somewhere
Yes,
else?
yes.
It's definitely not keeping in the area, is it really? The neighbouring. I don't think it's in keeping with the area at all. And it'd be sad to lose another bungalow for a house.
Yes, I'm not sure
I
what.
think we do need more bungalows as well for
Mhm.
people who get to the stage where they can't manage stairs.
Well, again, I mean, it tends to come back to the same
Back to
issue,
neighbourhood.
doesn't it? Yeah, the PWH one, yeah, to some extent.
If we are going by the neighbourhood plan and protecting 2-bedroom properties and bungalows, I think we should mention in the plan as well. Then we will be doing PWZ a disservice to not object to this one. But I think it pretty much the same sort of grounds as the last one, definitely PWH one. I'm not sure there's anything to say that it's overbearing or overdevelopment, but certainly the loss of a 2-bedroom bungalow is something that Portishead as a town doesn't want. So we should object.
And as Tim's raising, it is also detrimental to the street scene. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just, obviously, there's no comments online, so I don't know if you had to put a comment onto that.
No, the first time I think I had it, I was up to my eyeballs doing property up, and this time I tried to do it. Oh, God, the computer was playing up and everything. But no, I wish I tried to.
Well, you've still got time to do it.
Yeah, it is advisable that although you come to a planning meeting and you may be happy with the outcome, it is always advisable to put a comment on there, because obviously this does go to North Somerset and the final decision, sadly, at the end of the day will be theirs.
Right, okay.
I think you've got until Tuesday next week to put an objection. Would that be right? The North Somerset Council deadline is open for objections until then, isn't it?
Deadline I've got here is the 10th. So
Yeah.
whenever the 10th is.
So next Tuesday, yeah. So you have got a bit of time to file your objection online. You should, because that means that the planning officer down at North Somerset gets to see it. Yeah. Go on the planning portal and write your comment, your objection, and that will then be taken into account as well.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Do we have some wording down in respect to that?
I've got observation objects, PWH 1 policy, loss of 2-bedroom bungalow detrimental to street scene.
Perfect.
Who proposed?
Shall I propose?
Seconded by Tim. Yeah, okay.
Take the vote.
You can ask a separate question, but you said obviously North Somerset have the final say.
Hmm.
Do they give consideration to the PWH one document?
We hope they do.
They do by law.
Mhm.
Okay, so when I make
Once the town voted on it,
Yeah,
it became part of the planning law that they had to take into account. they can balance it against other needs and everything else, but it is there and they have to take it into account, and we always make sure we point it out.
May I raise just an observation? So it is in the planning application, the designer put one of the documents is the original plan, and it says it's a 2-bedroom house, but the study. It's not called a study room, it's called study space, it's called study, it's there in the original plan. I'm not sure what to make of that, what to make of that, because to me, that is a bedroom. So, it's always been a bedroom. There's no way the elderly lady that was living there previously, she had a dedicated, I just don't see that happening.
Are you saying that you think they've been a little bit flippant with the naming of
Yeah, I
the
think
rooms?
so.
There could be several reasons there, and obviously, have you seen the item when it went up south?
No.
So therefore, she could have actually stated it as a 2-bedroom at the time. It's
Might be worth going through
Yeah,
Zoopla
might be
and
worth
having a
going
backtrack
through
over
Zoopla.
it. It's still beyond that.
and see what the reference was to the next layout.
If the plan says 2-bedroom, then that's what the officers down at North Somerset will say. They won't go searching to see if it's got a 3rd bedroom there unless they resubmit a plan that says bedroom 1, 2, and 3. So there's probably a reason why it says study, and maybe it doesn't quite comply with everything it needs to be a bedroom, but it's just guesswork at this stage.
I think it's a point, obviously, where Bradley State, the biggest estate in Europe at the time, as you might know, that a lot of their houses had small studies that were put in, but this is certainly not a small study, is it? It's a
Small
bedroom.
bedroom.
My box room is tiny. It's tiny.
Right, okay, we'll move on. Okay,
Okay, we able to?
yes, of course, thank you for
Well,
coming.
thank you very much. Yes, thanks for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Again.
I was going to say, don't forget to put your comments in before the second.
You don't need our permission.
So we've got to take it extension.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for coming.
All the best. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Good evening.
Okay, we'll move to 1320, 1 Halliwell Road. I've not been to visit this because Emma and Jenny did. And we have had a report back, and you've seen a couple of the photographs which Emma put online. Correct? You've seen them all? You've seen the 2 photos?
Yes.
Yes. So
Any comments?
yeah, Emma's comments are in relation to that. They are somewhere here. Oh, I can't read that. No,
Her comments aren't actually listed on there.
no, they're not.
No, she
Sent an email.
she sent the comments in on email. Basically, she was trying to make a proposal by email, I think, wasn't she? That we object.
Yes.
I think that's what she was saying within her email. Unless you want to read the entire email out here.
Well, that's what I was thinking of doing, or at least
Has someone
part
got
of.
that available?
No, it's not available to read at the moment.
Okay.
But I think that there was
It's clearly,
there's some issues
there are
around,
some issues.
around this whole thing. I initially looked at this and thought to myself that there's obviously some issues with the neighbour, and that should be resolved. But I couldn't see any issue in the granting of a permission to extend a very small balcony to be slightly larger.
well, I think there are issues regarding to overlooking into the privacy,
Hence the
privacy
neighbour-
into
the
neighbours.
neighbours
Yeah.
Issues.
Mm.
And I mean, I would initially think we could say no objection, subject to neighbours' issues being dealt with. Equally, it's borderline. We could just object on the grounds that it's inappropriate and overlooking.
I seek advice on this one because are we seeking a further extension to it?
No.
No, we're not. We have to come to a decision tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So in terms of the wording you've just mentioned.
So we could go either way, but looking at
Issues of privacy.
what people have said here, it looks like most people would be in favour of objection.
Mhm.
In which case it would be loss of privacy, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
I think so, principally.
Yeah.
And it is, in a sense, overbearing onto the neighbouring
Yeah.
property because of the additional height over that fence line.
I think Emma was trying to say, unfortunately she can't be here to speak for herself, but she was trying to say in her email that she thinks that that we should recommend that the planning officer at North Somerset does a site visit,
Yeah.
as this is part constructed as is, as it's a retrospective planning application, isn't it?
Yeah.
Partially retrospective.
Partially, yeah.
That we should recommend that North Somerset do a site visit to see how far it's gone, and from there they can see the
Yeah.
impact on the neighbours. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, are we all agreeing? Are we in agreement? Do we have a seconder on that one? I'll second that.
Sharon, did you manage to get that? To something that makes sense?
I've got that the meeting noted the privacy issues for the neighbouring property and suggest that the case officer visit site as if it's a partially retrospective application to see the impact on the neighbours.
And we recommend objection
Yeah,
on
sure,
those
yeah.
grounds.
Yeah.
And so I propose that.
I'll second it.
Mike seconded that.
All in favour, yes, we're all,
Yeah.
four of us, yes.
Right.
Right, moving on then to 1635, Unit 5, Horatio House. This is Evolve Dentists down in the opposite Brunel Courts. So it's retrospective again. It's advertising consent for the large panelled monitor they have in the window, advertising their services and such like, and it runs from 6 o'clock in the morning, surely not, until about 9 at night. And it's having a detrimental effect on particularly a resident in Brunel Court. Back in November last year, the environmental officer did a check on all this, and he concluded that the light from the internal digital display board at the premises does not amount to a statutory light nuisance as defined under the above legislation inside the complainant's home. So I presume that they visited the home of the complainant. The complainant has been informed that this department will not be taking any further action on the matter. So there's a tricky one here. Roger and I have both been.
Say something.
Please do.
Yeah, we have had subsequent correspondence from the resident stating that she lives with the blinds closed, and
Sorry,
the board.
could you repeat that, Sharon?
She has to live with her blinds shut on her property, closed, because she finds the board totally dictates her life and her health. She wanted you as members to be quite clear that that has a detrimental effect.
There has been a request from the complainant that the statement is read out at this meeting. Would you like me to do that, or part of it?
I think you've probably got most of it.
I think so.
I think you've covered most of it.
So I've as the ward councillor for this one, I have been dealing with this on and off for some time. First of all, we deal with the point of the statutory nuisance. So when they assess for statutory nuisance, it's only assessed on what a reasonable person would see to be a nuisance. And it doesn't, under any circumstances, take into account any special circumstances of that person. So just because it's not a statutory nuisance doesn't mean to say that it's not an issue for this lady. She obviously has a sensitivity to this that the law around statutory nuisance does not pick up. So the statutory nuisance issue is different to the planning. So they put this in, which is an illuminated advertising board in their window some time ago, with no planning consent. Illuminated signs, internally illuminated signs require planning consent. There's a reason why they require planning consent, because of course they can spread light into people's properties around there, causing them problems. So we separate it from the statutory nuisance and say, as a planning application, is the objection from the neighbour enough to outweigh the business's requirement to have a screen in their window? It's not a standard TV screen. It's a highlight TV screen. It's a daylight viewing TV screen. So these are really, really bright, so you can see them in direct sunlight during the day. So at night they're even brighter.
They don't automatically dim then like our phones would.
No, it stays bright. There have been discussions between the two people. There have been talks about what time of night it gets turned on and gets turned off, and the lady in question keeps reporting that they don't stick to that. So we've got a sign that's causing her a nuisance, that doesn't have planning permission, that isn't being kept. Although I haven't been round and checked every night to see, according to her, isn't being kept to the time limits that she said, and it's causing her migraines and sleep deprivation, I believe.
She reports here that in March the time increased from 7:30 a.m. until 9:35 p.m. and then on the 18th of June of this year, I emailed Evolve to implore them to reduce the timing. I explained my family were visiting, would love to enjoy the use of my dining table and balcony. Sadly, the timing was increased until 11:30 p.m. for 2 weeks whilst they visited.
That's considerable.
I think,
So-
Jen, I think that what she's trying to say is she's not finding it a nuisance. She's finding it distressing, and
Yeah.
that's tolerate it.
Yes.
Beyond a nuisance.
Yes.
Yes, and I think it's quite straightforward. There's a reason why we have planning applications for illuminated signs. It's to stop issues like this from happening. They have now applied for planning consent, albeit retrospectively. I think had they, if they were applying for the first time, and we were aware that the person opposite was that sensitive to that type of sign, I think we would have refused the planning application, and therefore I think we should refuse the planning application this time round on those grounds. And that's my proposal, if anyone wants to second it.
I'll second that.
So you're objects
Yeah.
on the grounds that it's causing distress to a neighbour.
Yes. Directly shining into their window.
Does it not also beg the question as to why it's a necessity to have this thing on for such a long period of the day? Who's it trying to attract? Most people completely ignore them.
It's an advert. Is it a necessity at all? No, it's a nice thing for Evolve to have. Equally, they could place it far enough back from the window to not have to have planning consent for it, or they could just run it during the day when they were open.
Yes,
So that was
which
a
could be
proposed
a
one.
compromise, of course.
I think
Seconded by Tim, and I think we're all in favour of that one. Yes, we are.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So 1535 is the next one on the agenda, 204 Down Road. This house is being seen to as we speak. It's obviously been occupied by someone for a very long time. It's being renovated at the moment and changed, and they want to put this large extension on the side. It's I've not seen any comments online about it. I think there could be one about it, lots of review, but I wasn't really sure as to it's as to who put it down, because it clearly wasn't the next door neighbour. I personally don't have a particular issue with this. I can understand the need of the desire for someone to be renovating and changing the outlook of this house, which is probably from the 1940s.
can I just say, it looks like it's a two-bed house again. And it looks like it's going to be a 3/4 bedroom house. If planning is given, and therefore the usual objection to the loss of 2-bedroom stock would be there.
Well, there have been the odd occasion where we have been overruled on this. And I sense that it would be difficult to get that one through on those grounds.
Just to read out the objection, the proposed 2-storey extension will remove our existing view of the Severn Estuary and Wells, which is potentially reduce the value of our property. Proposed side extension should be in keeping with existing elevation and restricted to a 1-storey extension as not to impact upon the existing view. We purchased a house based on the existing view and would not like to see this impact.
So I'm assuming, although it's not listed as who sent it and where it's sent from, but I'm assuming therefore it's over the other side of the road. But there isn't really another side of the road because it's on the roundabout, and the directly opposite doesn't tend to be.
That last arc on the approach to the roundabout, isn't it, before you come up?
It's just
That
on the.
coming down from the school, yeah.
No, this is coming from the school.
Oh,
So
right.
the roundabout's here, so Weatherly Drive
Oh,
is
sorry,
going
yeah,
down there, so
sorry,
Kings
yeah.
Road's there. So here, there's not a property on that bend, it's gardens, I think. Right. Any further comments? Roger?
Only that I will, as always, propose objection on the grounds that it's a loss of a 2-bedroom house.
Are we definitely sure it's two?
PWH, whatever it was that we referred to.
I'm not sure that it's a two. I would need to bother you in the.
I was going to say both me and Emma
Documents there.
identified it as a 2-bed, but we're kind of.
Okay, this
It's
is
on the corner
No,
there.
it is a 3-bedroom.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It's a 3-bedroom property.
So I think that would be on sticky grounds, Roger, your proposal.
Well, if it is a 3, I'll double check because I identified it as a 2, but.
I don't have an
Just to say that
objection
I
to
didn't
it.
Make a mistake.
Hang on, no, sorry, hang on. How many is that?
Existing ground floor plan.
Yeah, it's a bit,
This is the one with the office upstairs, isn't it?
yeah.
All right.
It's not like it is,
Any answers coming?
So first floor shows 2 bedrooms and a bathroom as it stands.
Yeah.
JLS for
Oh, that's right.
ground floor shows utility sunroom, kitchen, diner, porch, and living room. So yeah, it's a 2-bed.
Okay, confirmed. Right, on those grounds then.
There we go.
So that's Roger.
So it's, again, PWH.
And who seconded?
Yeah. I'll second.
They were blank. Vote for
Vote, please. 3 of you. I'll abstain on that one.
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so that's carried on that. PWH 1 again. Did you feel it was overbearing on the property next door or anything? Just solely on the grounds of what you raised?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
right.
solely on the grounds of the loss of a 2-bed property. I don't think there's anything else
All right.
wrong with that.
Fine. So 1496 is the next one. That's 139 High Street. We've dealt with this one in the past. They're now proposing dormer windows up in the roof void to make use of that top floor. No objection from me.
None from me.
Seconded. I propose. Roger
Seconded.
seconded.
Yes.
Favour, carried. No objection. 46 Hillside 1545. Again, we have here a slight modification on the front elevation. I presume there's probably a bit on the rear as well. Yes, an extension on the rear is going in. I have no objection to this one. I don't think there's anything online either.
There is a neighbour who's posted some concerns online, nothing major. But I think we should probably flag it and just say
Please do.
no objections, subject to dealing with the neighbour's concerns.
Can you just outline them?
I didn't write down what they were in my
Oh,
notes.
okay, right.
There was a number of things. They were all very, very small things, but they could probably easily be dealt with. So I thought it would be an opportune time to do the no objection subject to.
Okay, thank you. Seconded by Tim. All in favour of that? Yes, Karen. 15 Quantock 1575. Just a change to the current dormer into enlarged with the Juliet balcony, extending into the roof, so you can walk out on it. I have no objection to this. Obviously, a lot of them have put dormer windows into their bungalows or variations on the theme. I have no objection, which I would propose.
I had this one down as a 2-bed going to 3. I'm just gonna go and double check that because I might have typed it in the wrong box. So let me just double check before we go any further.
That's 26.
Well, okay.
And this is the one with the office in the roof, isn't it? So it's a 2-bedroom property with what's shown as an office in the roof. But afterwards, the proposed floor and roof plans show a bedroom and ensuite in the roof, moving it from a 2-bed to a 3-bed.
I think you're skating on thin ice here.
The people of Bruzet voted for the policy, so I'm just trying to enact their wishes wherever I can.
Sure.
Did you actually make a proposal a minute ago and did you call for a seconder
I did.
to deal with that first of all, because you have made a proposal?
Well, I did, but then Roger intervened and said that it's currently a 2-bed and falls into TWH1 again. But did I have a seconder for no objection?
Yeah, Tim.
That was the last one before that.
Well, I've got no objection to what they want to do on Quantock Road. I think I understand where you're coming from to an extent, but I just feel that it's extremely unlikely that it will get turned down on those grounds. Do I have a seconder on no objection? Clearly not.
Okay, then it's back to Roger then.
Shall I then make a proposal that it's the loss of a 2-bedroom because it's conversion from a 2-bed to a 3-bed? Contrary to PWH, you know what, we keep doing this.
PWH1.
We've just had 2 of these tonight. It's a shame they've all come in one. Isn't it?
This is exactly what I was thinking some years ago. That it ended up with virtually, I think there was some meetings we had that half the development was from 2-bedroom to 4-bedroom and 5-bedroom house.
I feel like our hands are slightly tied by this policy, but it is what it is. I think as it's our town policy, it's incumbent on us to point out to North Somerset and leave them to balance the fineries of.
It's fine, Roger. Don't worry. I fully
So is that
understand.
seconded?
Seconded by Tim, and there's 3 against 1 because I'll abstain again. And moving on then, 1609. 84 Slade Road, proposed erection of a single-story side extension. Pretty inoffensive to my mind. You might disagree.
Shall
You'll be really pleased to hear that I've got no objection on this.
we? Yeah, we give you a break now. No, I've got no
I don't
objections
think-
to that at all.
I don't think it's detrimental
Yes,
to the
there's no
neighbour.
comments online on this one.
Okay. Poser,
Go on out.
no objection. Tim, seconded by Bob. Carried unanimously. So we've done 26 Quantock, yes? Did we make a decision on it? We did.
Yeah, sorry, you've
We did.
come out of that one, 26, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
18 Gardner Road, 1578, proposed demolition of existing detached garage, erection of a two-story wraparound side rear extension, a single-story rear extension, creation of a canopy front porch, and addition of cladding to the front and rear elevation. So, about halfway down Gardner. On the left,
Oh, yes.
yes. Existing. Proposed. Front elevation. Rear, again, I don't think myself it's having a detrimental effect on anyone. And I presume it's probably already a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
Okay, it is 3-bedroom.
No,
However,
however,
I will say,
yes,
it's a small 3-bed and it's going to be quite a large 4/5-bed afterwards. So my only concern on this is whether or not they'll be complying with parking standards. And I don't think there was much detail in the application to tell me whether or not they were. So
there is a little front and alteration and widening of existing vehicular access. So one assumes, therefore, they want to just make a little more of it.
So I'd be happy to not object, subject to it complying with North Somerset parking standards.
Seconded by Tim. Okay, go for that.
Yeah.
Yep. 1587, Merchant Square, flats 3797. This is cladding removal and dealing with it. Of course, we've had the Dagenham incident, and we've had the Grenfell inquiry results today. This is obviously going to get wrapped up for about 2 years, 125 weeks, isn't it? It's a long time, 2.5 years, thereabouts. And there are quite a few comments online about the impact it's going to have on the compound. They're going to take parking spaces away to store their kit. Notwithstanding the triangle in front of the property, one or two of them flats will be severely affected by that. It has to be done. Presumably it's probably government paying the majority of this cost, cladding removal. I can understand their issues. I sort of wonder whether they're going to close the pedestrian walkway around on the quayside. Doesn't seem to mention it in all the documentation that's attached to it, which I think we should flag up in some form of wording.
Yeah, it's been quite tight there, isn't it?
Well, actually, it's quite wide. The walkway is probably the width of the length of this table, at least. But half of it's going to go to scaffold, or maybe all of it is. But they've dealt with that at the Mirage. You can still obviously walk around it, can't you? Roger.
Yeah, I had a look through some of the extensive documentation that they've supplied on this one. There's lots and lots of stuff, as you can imagine, about cladding and everything else. Difficult to pick out the important bits from it, but they seem that where the triangle, the green triangle bit is, they seem to be proposing to fence in not just the green triangle, but the green triangle all the way up to the edge of the water, and put a thing all the way along the edge of the water.
Oh, okay.
And therefore the access into the flats in the merchant's block, they'll be able to come in from the other side, but no one will be able to walk all the way along the front. they'll have to detour around the back and go back in by Hall and Woodhouse to do that. And it looks like they've got a similar thing. They're really faint yellow lines on the plan that they've got. But they've got a similar thing up at the other end on the Mizzen block, where it looks like they're closing off the walkway at that end as well. So the ability for everyone to walk through as they normally do from one end of the marina to the other down that side looks like that'll be compromised. They'll have to go out behind the blocks and back in again, which is a shame.
Yep.
Equally, we've had quite a few complaints from a couple of flats who aren't in the blocks that need to have their cladding done, but they're going to have a fence right up outside their balcony, and probably with that plastic dust sheet over it, and they're not going to get any light for 2.5 years. Equally, it's critical that this work is done. We cannot leave those people for any longer than they have to be left without having this cladding replaced. So it's a horrible balance between what we do there. Can we make recommendations to, it feels like any recommendations at this stage would require a rethink of the entire plan. So I'm torn because I really feel for the people who live there, but I really feel for the people who live there as well.
It's quite an elderly community going by the comments that have come through, and as you're saying, Mike, a lot of them are concerned about the dust, the noise,
Loss of parking.
Loss of parking. It's quite extent from there's 8 comments online, and everyone's saying the same thing.
Yeah, we've just had the 7th anniversary of Grenfell, haven't we?
Yeah.
And these issues still haven't been fixed, so it's horrendous from every angle.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, Roger, I mean, these works have to be carried out, don't they, for the benefit of the inhabitants and residents. One assumes that they'll restore the green triangle as to how it used to be, with its mature trees in it and grass, which they've had to regrass, haven't they, temporarily. And I hope that they put a well-marked pedestrian route around, if indeed, as the curtilage seems to suggest, as you're implying, that they won't allow pedestrians anywhere near on the quay.
There's I think there's a book in there with loads of pages in the inside there. It's detailed that they're blocking 3 areas around that triangle, so you can't go around the triangle, so you can't go past it.
Right.
But it was really difficult to fish that information out of all the documents that are in there. We could flag that we would like them to do everything possible to leave that walkway open, because the walkway in front of the blocks, even though it's scaffolded, there's access ways in there, and they're leaving that open. So they could leave the whole walkway open, but it seems to be the requirements, the reason why they're shutting it is a requirement to keep that site bit safe from the public getting in, but surely they could leave a walkway.
Well, it also would have the effect of narrowing it down when there's no railing along that stretch. So there could be, in the eyes of the developers, an inherent danger there to the public, and it might be, therefore easier for routing them around the back of the building, as long as they have a walk, a routed detour.
I suppose they're probably worried about insurance claims if anything drops down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, if you leave it really narrow with no railing, then
Okay, so we have. Did you get kind of comments in relation to what?
Well, I'm putting no objection, but ask the developer to offer a walkway in the marina whenever possible.
A walking detour or whatever they're proposing to do, because I didn't spot anything really in relation to that.
A walk.
Do we want to say anything about trying not to block all the light from the windows of the surrounding properties? It's just I really feel there's some people, should we say, living in those properties that are going to have fence up against their balconies, who are in the twilight of their life, and the last few years of their life they don't want it to be marred with their view turning into that. Is there anything they can do? It's just a plea, isn't it? more than anything, it's just a plea to
Minimise
please
the,
be sensitive to the
detrimental-
residents around there.
yeah,
Right, shall I read this out loud?
please do.
So no objection for Ulster developer to offer a walkway diversion around the marina whenever possible, and that any impact on residents is kept to a minimum.
Yeah. So maybe surrounding
Any-
residents, because they're not in the block. The ones who are worst impacted aren't actually in the block at all.
Impact on surrounding residents is kept to a minimum.
That would, I would be
Yeah.
happy. with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that's from who is that from?
Roger, seconded by Bob, Tim again. Okay, all in favour of those? Yes, we all are. Okay, thank you. 1621, 25 Denny View, proposed erection of a balcony with a frosted glass privacy screen to the rear of the property at first floor level. No objection from me. Any comments?
My only comment on this one is it's a relatively fresh application and there are no comments online from it. So I guess I'd say no objection subject to no issues with neighbours. Just to
Yeah, it's
have
still
that
no
proviso
comment.
in there. But it only went on the 20th, didn't it?
Yeah.
So it's only been on for what, 2 weeks today, I think, or yesterday.
Fair dues. Okay,
So no objection subject to any valid comments from neighbours.
proposed by Roger, seconded by Bob. Those are all, yeah, all four of us again. 1679 317 Nor Road. This is a retrospective application for the erection of a 1.8 metre boundary wall. Now, coincidentally, I haven't been out to observe the wall, but from the photographs online, it does look suspiciously like a blockwork wall, which hasn't been rendered up. And not hugely attractive, if we could subjectively say that.
Yeah, it would be nice if it's rendered, wouldn't it, and matched in with the.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be toned down a bit. But there it is. Retrospective, another one.
I think the house next to it has a very similar.
It does. Yes, you're right. Off-street parking.
Yeah, parking and finish as well.
Yeah, which they've made reference to, I think, haven't they? So, with a degree of regret, I have to propose no objection. Okay, all four of us. The next two relate to the airport at Millsgate. More observations, really. Yet another massive, albeit temporary car park, 2,700 car parking spaces, heavens above. All these people flying off everywhere.
Yeah, I noticed there was an objection online that covered many things that weren't actually relevant to it. And logged the fact that it was temporary, but if they're putting a permanent bund up, how temporary is it? But it's temporary because it's not used all year round. So there'll be certain times of the year that it won't be used. So it's sort of an overflow car parking for the summer months. So it's going to be permanent, but its use is going to be temporary. But you know, it's an airport. It pays its taxes. It creates jobs. If we cut off their ability to service their customers with their parking demands, then people will fly from other airports, and those jobs will go out of our area into some other. So it's a sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't, from my perspective on the airport.
Yes, and potential 12 million people flying in and out every year.
Yeah,
It is what it is, and the current government is supporting the increase and expansion of airports. Isn't it?
Buses in and out on a regular frequency to do this from all over the place, but you know we can't be planning applications on what we'd like to happen anyway. So I have no objections to it.
Right. Well, I'm not sure that we're making a conclusion in that respect anyway, are we? Just observing it. Do we have to?
No,
We can just make an observation. Yeah?
Just-
Happy
just-
with
I
that?
would rather than that,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, 1655 is a full planning application, in 1676, a consultation.
Yeah. so
Yes,
the
a consultation
of
request,
under
yeah.
Provision of part 8, class 5, of the town and council, county planning. General permit development.
We'll make a note of the fact that
Yeah.
we have observed from our outlying town the 2 applications. All right, moving on. We're dealing with the 2015 58 Hillside Road. And this was a refusal from district on the application, and it's gone to appeal. And that we had made some comments in relation to the meeting that we held back in March. No, February, I believe. So do we want to change those comments? 3 of which are listed here.
you can only withdraw them. Yeah.
Yes. Do we want to withdraw them or not? 2 of them are printed down. Of course, you've got all 3 in your agenda, on your agenda.
Let me just read through a second.
And the refusal. We have until the 16th to deal with that. Comment number 3, of course, relates to the PWH1 again.
The comments are all fine there.
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
see any reason to withdraw any of them. We made, looks like we made some good recent comments now. I commend us all.
Yeah.
Clearly,
They shall, all right.
So we're happy to leave them as they are.
Yeah.
Right. There we go.
Don't do anything, and that's fine.
Yep. In that case. Late applications. Anyone looked at the branch line one? I didn't get time to have a look.
No. The
It's-
Poison railway one,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's just normal discharge of conditions along with all the other discharge of conditions.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to note is that it's great news that work is still proceeding, and let's hope that the government review confirms that we work can continue to proceed on that one.
yeah. Yeah. I understand that they've now raised about 6,000 written on the petition. Which is good. That's what, in 10 days, fortnight?
So we're just saying no comment then? Not going to make any comment, yeah?
On no objection,
No objection.
Yeah,
no
no,
objection.
second that, yeah.
Yeah. One's,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
unanimous. 1759, 21 Fieldfare Avenue. Proposed replacement of the existing Juliet balcony with a new balcony with a 1.8 tall privacy screen to the front elevation. Sharon and I were looking at this earlier today, that the current glass paneling is being proposed for one reason or another to be replaced with a slightly higher, did we think? Slightly higher privacy screen, whatever that entails. Is it frosted glass or is it
I
going to be
imagine,
a
yeah.
fence? Or something to
a
that.
frosted glass, and it's quite common.
They're proposing to extend the balcony out, aren't they, from being really small to larger. Is that the one?
Not sure.
So I think they've literally got a tiny balcony.
It's one of those you can just open and let the fresh air in. It's not one you can walk out on, is it?
We did one round the corner where they did the same. They took out the little Juliet balcony and they built a balcony on. And I think that's what they're proposing to do on this one, build a balcony on and therefore put a screen up the side with obscured glass in it or obscured something for privacy. But it's pretty much the same as the one that we approved round the corner.
Okay,
And
well,
I think he noted in his application that we'd approved the one round the corner as well. People, they do their research, don't they?
well spotted. Okay, fine. So resume your an objection from Roger proposed, yeah? Seconded by Tim and unanimous again on that one. Okay, fine, thank you. And then lastly, it's 9 Kings Road, 1767. Again, we looked at this afternoon and felt that it had no detrimental effect on the neighbouring property, which is sort of round in Seaview Road rather than adjoining this one, because there's a piece of land next to this which seems to have a gated access, but we're not sure whether it's a garden belonging to one of the properties or substation, not quite sure. We'll get around to looking at Google Earth on that one, but it's an extension of the existing extension at the rear, going out a further 6 meters. It's already at 5 meters width or thereabouts. No objection from me.
These were the hand-drawn plans, weren't they?
They look as though they are, yeah.
They look to be hand-drawn plans. My only concern on this one is the floor plan only shows the rear half of the property's floor and not the rest of the floor.
Yeah.
And I'd have thought that if they were putting it or required to put a floor plan in, then they should show the entire floor. It's sort of they've done like a squiggle on the line, haven't they, as if to say like,
Yes.
oh, and whatever's there. But of course we don't know what's there because we haven't seen it. So I'd like to see the plan drawn properly, so I know how many bedrooms it's got.
Why do you feel that that's relevant to the application?
Just in case they're proposing to go from 2-bed to 4-bed somewhere and they haven't drawn it on the plan.
Do you not take this as just being an extension to their kitchen dining room?
Rather, I don't. Yes, but the last one was just the inclusion of a balcony, and it turned out to be a bedroom with an ensuite as well. So, from my perspective, I'd like to see the plan drawn properly, but that's just me being pedantic.
Do you have a seconder for your proposal? Because I would propose no objection.
So sorry,
Sharon
can we just clarify? So I've
I
lost
think
it a little bit.
Roger wants to object on the grounds that the plans aren't very.
Is it objecting, or are
forthcoming.
you just going to ask for a time extension?
I guess what I'm saying is, could we ask for a time extension and for a full floor plan to be included in there as well? That would be my ask. Because you know what, we'll probably not object to it.
Well, I'm
But
assuming
I'd
that
like to be certain that we don't want to object to it.
I'm assuming that they've not put them in simply because they're irrelevant to the planning application, in a sense.
It's the first time I've ever seen a planning application when they've only put half the floor in. And it may be normal, and it may be that I've just never seen one before, I don't know. So,
Sharon, what have you written?
That Roger's proposed a time extension and requests for the complete plan, showing the entire floor plan, because I think that's what Bob is seconding. Is that right?
Yes, it sounds like it, and I think Tim is minded to
go
go with that
it.
as well.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's carried again with me abstaining.
Can I say?
Yes. Okay. Right. Well, that's the planning applications done. And we will move on then to the last planning consulting, which is to do with the street trading review of the policy. Please refer to the website for further details should you so wish to be acquainted with them. Okay. So item agenda 10 is to do with a couple of tree TPOs.
So are you considering that street trading?
No, I don't think we need to, do we? Do you want me to read out the spiel on the
No,
street?
no, did you want to consider it?
Well, we have until the 7th of October, which is just over the next
I was
meeting.
gonna say, I wouldn't do this, I don't think it's on my copy of the agenda.
It's a late one, that's why,
Ah,
but you had an
okay.
email circulated to you.
Right.
So what?
Sorry.
Do you wish to bring it to the attention of the next meeting then?
Yeah.
Right,
That's
okay.
it.
Which I think is on the 3rd, isn't it, or something?
Second, I think it is.
2nd of October. Radio. All the details on the website, street trading, review of the policy. Okay, so yeah. Item 10.2 is the list of the decisions from district. And then on item 11, we have the correspondence that's been received and is available for inspection on request, which is the Parish Council's Airport Association minutes from their meeting the 27th of June.
So,
And
right, on the North Somerset Council decisions, 9 Fircliffe Park is the one we did a month or two back where we had
Yep.
people coming in about it, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, just to confirm, that was the one that we had people coming in and they withdrawn the application on that one. So that feels like a success, that they'll be maybe putting in a revised application after listening to their neighbours. So that would be
well, of course, we had most neighbours, I think, immediate neighbours anyway, turning up, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Sorry.
Well, airport, the PCAAM, no, minutes, yes, of their AGM and their meeting on the 27th of June. And that's it then, isn't it really? Date of the next meeting is the 2nd.
Yeah, lovely. Must be just late.